Okay, got it. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samia Zaid. I'm the head of the English unit at the Western Galilee College. I was asked by Kostas to run this session. He has an emergency, so he can hear us, but we cannot hear him. I mean, he will communicate with us via chat. Okay, so welcome everybody. At the beginning, I want to welcome you all, and I want to say a few words about our project. This is a virtual exchange project, Impact. It's and today we are hosting Professor Usnat from the Western Galilee College. She will discuss with us the topic on civil education and engagement, and her talk will last for 1 hour. Few words about the project. Impact is a European, Israeli, and Moroccan higher education institution connecting higher education institutions and organizations from these countries. It aims to foster intercultural dialogue and soft skills through innovative technologies and pedagogies. The project includes virtual exchanges and modules, as well as joint activities with toolboxes that are aimed to support digital and intercultural collaboration. Professor Kostas from the Hellenic Mediterranean University is the project coordinator. I'm going to share the links for our Facebook, for LinkedIn, so you can be updated with our activities. But let me now introduce my colleague, Usnat. Professor Usnat is an associate professor in political science at the Western Galilee College in Israel. She is the head of the Galilee Research Institute at the Western Galilee College. She is the president of the Israel Political Science Association, ISPSA. Okay, if you want to know what it means, then ask Osnat. Okay. Her specialization is in legislative studies, setting the agenda, candidate selection methods, government, local government, gender and politics, minorities, and politics strengths of democracies, research methods, and Israeli political system. She has won several competitive research grants and research awards, including ISF and GIF. Whoever is in the field can guess what they mean. In 2016, she was a visiting scholar at the Stanford University. In 2010 and 2015, she received a prize for outstanding teaching in political science from the American Political Science Association. In 2015, 2018 to 2023, she received prize for excellent researcher from the Western Galilee College. She served 10 years as local council representative. In 2012, she received Edmond Safra Award for Outstanding Achievement and Excellence. And finally, in 2022, she received the New Pioneers Award from the Union Sephardi Mondial for her contribution to the Israeli society. I'm going to post the links where you can see her outstanding achievement, where you can follow our activities in this Erasmus project. I'm giving the floor to Osnat.
Thank you. I have to say it's quite embarrassing to listen to all the anyway. So, but I can use just a minute. Okay. Do you see the first slide?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about research I did a few years ago, which was accepted for publication and was supposed to be published last month. And I didn't see it yet, so hoping to see it soon. It's about active civic education. And the active civic education used project-based learning, and the active civic education supposed to change the attitudes toward civic engagement. And I would like to start with some of my CV about who am I in addition of a political scientist in the Western Galilee College and at Haifa University, I'm first and foremost an activist woman, I have to say. And as you were told, I was 10 years for 2 terms council member. But it was not enough for me, because I do think that we need to be activists, even though we are academic people. We need to serve our communities in the way we think we should. And I think, as a political scientist, that we should do it in the public sphere and in the political sphere, especially for women, and not just women, but I'm a woman. This is why, this is my point of view. So in 2016, I delivered a speech in the UN about women in politics. In 2021, I was part of a party that ran to the election in Israel. We didn't pass the threshold, but it was my activism to be part of the general politics in trying to change some parts of the Israeli political system, specifically finally writing a constitution. This was my main goal in this specific party. And since the beginning of this year, when the current government decided to create a constitutional revolution, which is my expertise, I decided to be part of the demonstration, as you can see. And in some places, I was those people that try to, close the roads in Tel Aviv. So this is one of the pictures. And in other pictures, I delivered speeches, whatever people ask me to do. Why is it important? Because I believe that as a political scientist lectures, we're supposed to help our students that study political science themes, not just to be at the theoretical level, but especially to be more practical citizens. So this is what is the research about the incentive, that my incentive to conduct this research, and actually not just the research, the way I teaches. And here with us, Dr. Aryeh Hershkovich, which is a colleague of mine at the political science department, and he teaches the way I do. And we wrote some studies about the civic education, and we think that this is something very important. So the main puzzle of the research is the effect of active civic education, and the fact that we use project-based learning. How does it affect the attitudes towards civic education as a first start, and then afterward the actual action, being engaged in civil society, and what is happening in a multicultural society, meaning Israel. So let's just talk a little bit about the theoretical background. There is a lot of scholars writing about citizenship and the fact that it must be supported by an ongoing educational process. So if we believe that this is the way to strengthen citizenship, so civic education is something that must be acted all the time. And scholars demonstrated that when we have civic education, it creates proactive, participatory, and more involved citizens. I argue that it's not just the civic education, it must be active civic education, not just the theory. You have to practice during the study the civic education. So it is mandatory in order to strengthen citizenship as a concept, the attitude toward civic engagement, and then after you change your attitude, you probably will change your behavior. and being a better citizen. How do I suggest to do it? Using project-based learning, and there are problem-based learning and project-based learning. Here, I prefer to use the project, not the problem. And scholars indicated that this is a very important tool to create active students which are more self-educated. There are a lot of collaboration, communication, and reflection between the groups that are doing the project-based learning. So this is why, scholars found that there is a positive relationship between the use of project-based learning and a lot of other factors that are important for civic engagement. So this is why I choose to use it as a way, the project-based learning, as a way to increase the civic engagement. So far, do you have any questions, comments, something to clarify? Something? Samia, you are on the chat. If there are questions, you are more than welcome to ask. So there are two hypotheses. This is the first one. We are talking about, the first one is about the level of civic engagement, and the theories regard it as increased knowledge about civic engagement and awareness of civic life, more discussions about civics and civil rights, and analytic skills as part of being active in the society. So the hypothesis is that active civic academic studies using project-based learning will affect student attitude as a first start towards civic engagement, and then as a second part, their level of actual civic engagement will be increased. So this is the first hypothesis. Now, since the study is about the Israeli society, the very multicultural Israeli society, few words about Israel. Since its establishment, it's a diverse, multicultural society within a very unique framework of a Jewish and democratic state, which sometimes are not just overlapping, contradict each other. Looking at the Israeli society, we can see the Jewish and the Arab. Within the Jewish, we have a lot of differences between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, as we call them, Jewish that immigrant from Russia, and Jewish that are secular Jewish, traditional Jewish.
Can you please mute whoever?
Yes, the Jellica need to be muted. I think that you can mute her, Samia.
Yeah, okay, that's...
Yeah, you did.
No. Okay. What's that?
Okay, you muted us all. Anyway, so within the Jewish, we have also secular Jewish tradition, Jewish and ultra-Orthodox Jewish, and this is just the multicultural within the Jewish. When we add the 20% of the Arab citizens, we can see that we have Muslims, Christians, and Druze. So Israeli society is multicultural society, and it is interesting to analyze civic engagement within multicultural society. So the second hypothesis is about the fact that Jewish and Arab citizens do not meet until college level or university level, because we have separate schools for Jewish secular, for Jewish religion, for Jewish ultra-Orthodox religious, and for Arab schools. I'm talking about the public schools. The private, it's a different story. All of them, not all of them, sorry. The secular Jewish, part of the religious Jewish, and the Arab schools all have the same final examination. So they need to reach similar finals. So within the separation of the educational system until the college, my hypothesis is that Jewish and non-Jewish students will differ in their attitude toward civic engagement. And you need to remember again that the combination of Jewish and democratic state of Israel is very challenging for both the Jewish, the mixture of the Jewish we have, and of course, the Arab citizens of the city, of the country. So what did I actually do in the research? I did it in a public college with Jewish and non-Jewish students. Most of them are the first generation for higher education. And again, it was their first time to meet each other. The data collection was an open-ended questionnaire. Students report about the project they took and weekly class discussion about their project. All of them create content which I can analyze then and reveal some insights about the changes they had based on the project each one of the students had to go through. So I had 3 classes. One was about political science and all was about political science. One was about government and politics, and the other was about public policy, first year and second year. So I had a mixture. The most important about citizenship is that the topics of the courses was about freedom of information, transparency, accountability, civic and political participation, and critical thinking. So the themes of the courses was about citizenship. So my first option was just, theoretically tell them about it, but I thought that it is wrong to teach it this way. This is why the project-based learning way of teaching. So each course had a practical project, and they gained 25% of their grade thanks to the project. The beginning of each project was at the second semester because I wanted them to have a theoretical knowledge about civic citizenship and all the other themes. And just at the beginning of the second semester, start practicing democracy, if you can say. And they have several assignments during the second semester. So it was an ongoing project, and each course had different practical project. So the public policy course was about public budgets. So if I can ask you, which one of you ever went to his local government and asked for the budget? As a council member, I'm familiar with the budget of my local government specifically. But most of us, which are not part of the local government or we're not interested in, we have never looked at it and understand where our local government invests the money we paid every month or during the year. So the first instructions was to go to the website of each of their local government and look for the budget, which is supposed to be by law in the website, on the website. Samia, on the website?
On the website.
On the website. Anyway,
you're doing fine.
And then they need to look at the details and see what is interesting for them. But some of them didn't find any budget within the website. I'm trying to. Anyway, so the first step was to go physically to the local government building and ask for it. And it was very interesting to learn their experience. I will say a little bit more about it in a few slides. So After looking at the budget, they were asked to formulate 3-4 questions about a specific articles or aspects of the budget, which is something that interested them. As a young students, young people, for example, how much money their authorities give to students, or what are the facilities of their local government for students, or whatever they like to ask. And they need to send the questions to the treasurer in order to gain answers. Finally, they had to follow up on their request several times until they will have some answer, probably until the end of the semester. So the goals of this assignment were to teach students about their rights to transparency and accountability from the formal authority, their specific villages or cities. It let them see model of active civic engagement, because they have to go, to ask, to handle, to nag, to accept, not to accept no as an answer. So this was the main goal of the first project. Within the second course, Government and Politics course, they were asked to select a subject that interested them as a person in their local government. For example, sports or education or playground or public transportation. And the first mission was to collect as much as possible information about the specific topic. Who are the main players? What are the main goals that the local government decided to achieve in this specific area? And then after the research, they need to go to the same major players they identified and ask them, how could they help to promote this specific goal, so to make them more active? And then they had to choose at least one action within the specific topic which was dear to them. So
Osnat, before we proceed, people are asking, are you willing to share the slides of your presentation with us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And soon as the research will be published, I will deliver it to you, Samia, and I will be happy to show you the full research. Yes, definitely. Of course.
Thank you.
So the students engaged in learning experience, their right to ask questions, their personal ability to act. You know, it is amazing to receive young students, first year, second year, the first degree, to see how shy they are regarding the public sphere. Meaning, they're asking, what should I go and ask the politician about whatever? It's impossible, or I don't feel comfortable to do it. I don't have the ability to act. I don't want to act. I'm ashamed to act. So many excuses or explanation why they shouldn't do it. And I basically force them to do it. And if they gain no as an answer after several times nagging, still they received the full grade for it, because the grade was not about whether I gain all the information or not. It was about the process of convincing the main actors to talk to me and to say something to me, not just always yes. So this was the goal of the second course, both of them.
Can I add a comment here?
Of course.
Okay. Was it an issue that those students we're teaching at the Western Galilee are, some of them, mainly the Arab students,
are
younger age, they are 19, 20, so they will not feel confident enough to approach these low.
Definitely. It's even more For me, it was even more important to use the project-based learning to the Arab students because they were very young, because it was the first time for them to participate in a class with Jewish students, that their experience in the Israeli society is different. And for me, at the end of the course, to listen to the comments about how empowered they were thanks to the project was the best prize I can ever gain within this research. So yes, definitely. And this is why I'm going to say to Eli, this is why I think it's important tool to use everywhere, definitely in the civic education, but everywhere, to create active students during their studies in any field, not just political science. I think that it's easier in political science, but still everywhere. So yes, definitely, Samia, for your question.
Then I definitely agree with you that PBL and the way that you use it, it's definitely important and relevant for other aspects and disciplines.
Yeah,
and I can say, yeah.
Yeah, I must say that this is very creative. We use project-based learning and teaching languages, but I never thought about any possibility of using it in other disciplines. I mean, this is really amazing.
So I can say
medicine, actually, in a medicine school in Canada, as far as I remember. And so, with all due respect to the English teaching.
Yeah. But I can say that Arya and I received a grant from the higher education in Israel to apply this specific project-based learning in all the courses of political science at the Western Galilee College. So they see that it's important tool to use in order to advance civic engagement. So let's see the results. After analyzing the content of all the information I gained from the students, their reports, the questionnaire, and the weekly discussions in the class, there are 8 themes: increased knowledge and awareness, persistence, abilities to succeed, ability to make a difference in Israeli society, accountability, transparency, civic rights, and finally, and most importantly, critical thinking, because we want our student to be more engaged. For more details, you can see that the theme increased knowledge and awareness, their testimony was, I have learned about my rights. They didn't know their rights. For example, the fact that it is mandatory that the budget will be within the website of every local government, and not just one page of the summary of the budget, the detailed budget with all the small articles as the budget of the country should be, and you should be able to look at it and ask questions. So they have learned about their rights, and it makes me feel obligated to my community. And referring to your previous question, Samia, the most important part was within the Arab students. They felt that they're not outsiders of their community. They can learn more and then to be much more active in their community, not just the general country, which they don't usually feel connected to, but their specific community. And some of them say that they have learned about my village and where they invest the money, which was very important, because they didn't know that there are good things that happening in their local government. And the money, most of the money is well spent within the local government. They didn't know. So knowledge and awareness. And when I analyzed the frequencies of the answers, I saw that in public policy courses, almost 98% learn new subject, and 90% gain more knowledge and awareness of the concept of civic engagement. So first, knowledge. People don't know. Anyway, in the government and politics courses, 90% learn new subject, and similar percentage gained more knowledge about the concept of civic engagement. And in education studies, we know that in order to understand something, we first need to know the facts. We need to know whatever is happening. So the second theme was persistence. How much time they invest to convince the local government that they should give them the information. And some of them say that it was hard to nag for answers. I have to say that I forced them every week. I told them, you have to. If you need my help, I can help, but you have to address the treasurer, the council member, anyone that can help you to gain this information. You have to be persistent. And some of them said that I didn't know that it is possible to address politicians by email, by call them, by visiting them in their hours within their offices. In the public policy courses, 26% of the students indicated that persistence and demands for answers played a role in their search for information. You know, it was a tutoring for life. If you want to gain some goals, you have to be persistent. And 50% in the other course. The third theme was the ability to succeed. When I see a neglected playground, it was at the end of the semester, they wrote it. I'm not ashamed to write to the municipality. So this is like, yes, they understand that they have the ability, and if they see something wrong, they will do something. It looks like a small one, but it's not, because they can change the playground, the traffic problem in the municipality, and so on. It is important that we will be accountable and make changes. Young students, both Jewish and Arab, indicated that they feel obligated to do something, that they can do something, not just sit and, you know, complain about the politicians. So during the weekly discussion groups, three main attitudes emerge. The first one was that most students were initially skeptical about their ability to succeed in the project, and they came to me privately and they say, you know, it's something that we don't used to do, to address politicians. I don't know how to do it. Shall I go with my father? It was amazing to understand the problems of these students, how to handle the project, because it was their first time to address some authority and ask for a reply. And the second one was the success stories that we gave time in every beginning of the 5-10 minutes of the lessons, and they heard other friends and their success stories, and they say to themselves, wow, if they did it, I can do it. At least I can try to do it. And the third one is that they started to believe in their ability to make a difference in the Israeli society.
Osnat, we have a question.
Of course.
Okay. So this is from Constance. What was the duration of the activity? Was it part of an entire course, throughout the entire course?
Yes. Okay. So it's a course that lasted all the three courses. The three groups with two courses lasted 1 year, 2 semesters. The first semester was about gaining information, theoretical information. And during the first semester, I told them that in the second semester, they will need to go to collect information, to do some action. It's like I prepared them to the coming actions. And then during the second semester, every week, I was like, I nagged them for their assignments. And every week, the 10, 15 minutes depends on the students' replies. They were asked to share with other students what did they do, not just the success stories. We listened to the problems, how to address, what to write, what should I do? And the other students in the class helped them. It was like a brainstorming with peers with the same problem, with the same challenges during every week. So during the entire semester, the project was the main event. And after 2-3 weeks during the semester, they had to submit assignment on the website of the course. So they need to be alert all the time with this project. I hope that I answer.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
You did.
great.
Thank you.
So the other themes, just a minute. So during the weekly discussion groups, most of the students, for most of the students, the project was the first time they had studies the meaning of accountability, transparency. It was not just a general concept. They understood that they can ask for information. They can ask for being responsible from the politician. And the fact that they were able to take the theory and to be critical about the actual actions of the politicians. It was in one of the cases, one of the students told me that she's going to go with her father to the mayor, and she was very excited because it's her first time to do it. And afterwards, she said that it was so easy to speak to him, and he was so willing to listen to her suggestion. And she find herself being engaged in politics, even though she was like less than 20 years old and very skeptical at the beginning of the course.
Yeah, we're talking here, Osnat, about some of your samples belong to very traditional communities.
Yes.
And I can understand what you mean.
Yeah. And my major role was to encourage them to face the challenges, first to understand what are their challenges, and sometimes even to help them to overcome them, because I do have, direct connection to most of the mayors because of my research and because that I'm engaged in politics. So for me, it was easy to, call some of them and ask them to help, but it was just the last option. I tried to encourage them to do it by themselves and to understand their challenges within the tradition, society, and there were other challenges as well. The gender differences and so on.
Also the range. I think when someone is very young, is less aware of the municipality's role and the possibilities. And I think it also goes together because Jewish students tend to be older because they serve in the army and they come only afterwards to study after a trip to South America and so on. So it's together.
And I think that something was interesting in one of the courses that one of the students was a council member in one of the cities. So the student actually asked him questions confidentially before sending the letters to their specific politician. So, in each research, if you have some content analysis, you want some statistics, right? Usually my research methods is a combined one, mixed research method. So I did some statistics, and only one answer within the questionnaire was significant. It's about the persistence and the demand for answers. Jewish students were much more insistent. Aria, it's exactly what you were saying. More mature, more feel comfortable to address and ask and demand. But when I looked beyond the statistical, the significance of the statistics, I could see that non-Jewish students score higher. The average was higher with regard to improving their self-confidence and their responsibility for solving problem, and the fact that they have rights and they can accomplish the goals that they decided that they are going to accomplish. So this is just the statistics that I have. What about the future civic engagement? I asked them at the end of the course about it. So in the public policy courses, 70% answer yes. And just 30% say no, that they are going to be engaged in civic life in the future. I didn't ask what, where, just whether you're thinking of, and 70% it's very nice number, because at the beginning of the course, I asked them, do you engage in civic life? And most of them say no, except, during school, high school, they do some project in I think in the 11th grade or 10, but in the general concept, they less engaged in civic life. And in the government and politics course, 90% answer yes. Remember, the public policy was about the budget, and the government and politics was about any subject that you are interested in and you are willing to understand what does it mean and to be active in it. And again, some statistics about the likelihood of participating in civil engagement in the future. So in the public policy courses, non-Jewish students were more willing to participate than Jewish students. Samia, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And I was very happy to see it, because I felt as if I did some change, significant change in our students based on their experience during the practical project. And in the government and politics, there was no significant difference. So that is for the statistics. So conclusions and practical implication. Any practical implication?
Osnat, can I say something before you continue?
Yeah.
I would like to remind the participants that Rhonda has our partner from Gordon has posted the message in the chat, and also the link for getting feedback on this workshop. So we will appreciate it if you fill in the feedback form. Rhonda, can you please resend it, or I will do that? Thank you.
I will resend the link. Thank you for reminding everybody.
So conclusions. The study demonstrates the differences in the impact of active civic education. So first and foremost, I illustrated that active civic education using project-based learning matters. We should use it more, and it has impact, a significant impact, specifically within a mixture of Jewish and non-Jewish students. And at the end, they actually not just gain more information and more believed in their ability to act, they actually say that they are going to do something in the future. So the contributions of this research first is that it's just among few that have investigated the impact of civic education using project-based learning approach in a college level. Most of the studies I read was about elementary school, high schools in Europe and in the US, but less at the college level. So it's a contribution. The second one is that, yeah. Okay, so the second one is that it sheds light on the issues of attitude towards civic engagement. And I believe, in Israel as a case study, I believe that the first stop is attitude towards civic engagement. And when you change it and you see the civic engagement as something that is positive, something that is plausible, something that we can do, the next step is actually do it. And this is one of the contribution of the Israeli case, which again is a very special case because of the Israeli culture, the multicultural society, and the fact that we are Jewish and democratic state. In between, we have a 20% minority, and the majorities, most of the time, I can say, as a political scientist, regard the minority less than they should have much more, and definitely their rights. And the third is the expansion of the knowledge about minorities in Israeli society. I didn't tell you in this presentation, but it's in the research. There are differences between Muslims, Christians, and Druze. So within the Arab society, there are differences. Of course, the Druze serving in the army, and they feel much more obligated to the country. Within the Christian and the Muslims, there were differences, but this is in the paper. So this is the third contribution. What is the practical implication? First, we should increase the number of academic courses in citizenship on the college level, of course, using project-based learning. This is one important. The second one is
in fact, Kostas is heading toward this. He's always recently mentioning this topic about civic education, inclusion, and diversity, and we're planning to integrate it into our project. So thank you.
So you can count Aryeh and me.
I would like to hire Osnat now.
And Ari,
Aryeh and moi.
No,
Ari.
okay.
From the Western Galilee College. Yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Aryeh and I are doing it together. And the second practical implication is that colleges must acknowledge the diversity of their students, and they have to respond accordingly. Multicultural colleges, which our college is one of them. And I think we are doing quite well, but definitely can improve ourselves. And the third is the need to strengthen the component of civic education among in Israel, non-Jewish citizens. And in other colleges and university, minorities versus majorities in European countries and in the US. So that's it. Thank you for listening, and I will stop the sharing. And we have 5 minutes before I have to go to questions, comments, whatever. Thank you.
Can I speak? Because I went out of the room. I was so much impressed by the presentation that I went out of the room, you know, the politicians.
Thank you.
In a very big room. So I would like to congratulate you, Osna. It was one of the best presentations that has, at least, you know, impacted me. I'm not a very busy person. You know, this is one that, you know, you expressed exactly what Impact Project is, and you provided very nice ideas how we can run our courses, either in 2 semesters or split the semesters, you know, and make them work by themselves. Problem-based learning is well known also in natural sciences, but the way that you have set it, you know, makes, you know, very engaged citizens, you know, citizens that they learn by themselves. And this is the only way to learn, you know, the challenges and address them, because they propose also solutions. So I would like to thank you very much on behalf of the Impact for this presentation. Thank you.
I would like to warn Osna that she's not going to have a lot of students because it sounds to me, I think it's very difficult for students to be taken out of their comfort zone and actually pushed to do things. But this is the best way for learning, and I think it's very nice job and very nice idea to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it practically. I admit, like being so.
Arya, but this is a challenge. I mean, you know, the teachers, you know, we should be leaders in the classroom. So if it is hard, it's up to us to make it easy. We should give the exam and we should persist. She mentioned within one of the transparencies persistence.
Right.
So I say that this is the key. And, you know, I mean, we should give the exam. The students that are taking exams from us. So if we insist in this kind of pedagogy activity, yes, all of us were getting out of the comfort zone, including the lecturers.
Right.
It just takes a lot of energy from the teacher, from the lecturer.
Exactly.
All the lecturers would just move to their comfort zone and just don't bother.
There is it is this way or the highway. They should select, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
May I read the comment from Alexandra in the chat? So she wrote, it looks that this course contributed to the development of multiple soft skills, in addition to critical thinking, such as communication and group work.
Right.
So I have to admit that we learn a lot about the topic, civic education. We learn a lot about you as a person, Osnat, our presenter. We learn a lot about pedagogy, how to build our next courses, how to adapt this task-based learning, project-based learning in any discipline. And I think that your expertise and passion were clearly evident, and it provided, I guess, all of us with valuable insights. You said that the students have get a lot of information, and I've always known that knowledge is power. So if you good the knowledge, you have power to affect and make a change. So this was highly motivating, encouraging us to become more active and informed citizens.
So as an activist woman, I just will conclude and say that I will be happy to help and to participate in any project you think that I can contribute to increase the civic engagement or the use of project-based learning, to be creative in how to do it and how to help the lecturer to do it in a better way, because, you know, we are a group of people and if we should encourage each other to do it. So whatever you think I can help, I'll be more than happy to help.
I would like also to highlight something else. You know, it's very important from the pedagogy point of view, and I will give the floor to Ellie. Osnat mentioned a detail that I asked through the chat. She mentioned that, you know, in the beginning, they provide the theoretical knowledge and the tips, and then they practice. Because here we confuse. We said, if they practice, they learn. They learn both ways, because you keep words, and when you are doing, you remember these words and these principles, and then you realize the thing.
Right.
No one can fly a plane without the theoretical practice. Through the theoretical practice, when they practice, they remember the keys and they fly better. The floor to Ellie now.
Yeah, so we have to move to another meeting, but first I enjoy that a lot. It's a very interesting practice and way of using PBL. We have an Israeli community that deals with PBL during the year. So maybe we can present that, or you can present that in the community and maybe discuss it. Additional
I'm sorry, Ellie, this is impact copyright now. You can
that's that's what I'm trying. That's the next sentence. Additional to the activity that we will have in impact, of course. And maybe we can integrate these two community and group that works about it. So I'd like to be in touch about it and discuss.
Definitely this activity and this example should be an example for next semester that we're going to engage our students in local base, in multinational base, to follow exactly what Osnat and Arieh, because I keep forgetting Arieh because ladies first and then I forgot myself. Osnat and Arieh, what they are doing should be, you know, a perfect example of what we should do. Thank you.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm just saying that I didn't do the study. I participated in something else. That was not credit law only.
I was right from the beginning then.
So I'm
And
sorry,
I think,
but I need.
Constance, this is suitable for the students too, not just for us as academics.
This is what did I say? Exactly what
Yeah.
did I say? But
Okay.
first of all, we should learn from this exam ourselves as well.
Thank you very much, Aslan. It was
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Elena?
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.